All right, we're going to go ahead and just do a little review as our last lesson for this unit. And we're just going to talk about how to find slope, midpoint, and distance. So just as a reminder, slope is just simply your rise over your run. Okay, rise is the y values going up and down. Your run is how far left and right you're going, so those are your x values. So for that reason, the formula we usually write, M stands for slope. The formula that people usually write is y2 minus y1, all that over x2 minus x1. There are two special types of slope. The two special types of slope are when you have a line that looks like this on your graph, so a vertical line, versus a graph that has a horizontal line. When it's vertical, that means you're going to have some number, like say like 7, I'll give an example, 7 over 0 as your slope. We always say that's an undefined slope. And like I said, that means the line is vertical. Okay, so vertical line. Well, on the other hand, you'll have your special slope of 0 over like some number. So here's an example. That's always going to equal 0. That means it's a horizontal line. Okay. So we have a few examples of slope down here. We're going to determine the slope and the type of slope. So for instance, number 1 is pretty easy to tell that this line is going negative, because if you read it from left to right, the line is going down. So we're going to say it's a negative slope, because I want you to also state the type. And then we're going to go ahead and find the slope. Now I'm going to go ahead and use the formula that's up here, the y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So the way you use that in this case is the first value is always your x. So let's say this is my x1 and this one's my x2. And then these would be our y's, y1 and y2. We'd go ahead and plug those in. So the y2 is negative 1. So we're doing, let me write it down here, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So we're doing negative 1 minus 3 over our 3, because that's our x2, minus a negative 3. So negative 1 minus 3 is negative 4. When you subtract a negative, that's like adding. So this is like 3 plus 6, or 3 plus 3, which is 6. And then the last thing we always do is we simplify. So both 4 and 6 can be divided by 2. So I'm going to divide both of those by 2. So you end up with a negative 2 over 3. And there is the slope for that one. Now, when it's actually a graph, I want to show you another way you can also find your slope. You can also just go ahead, and I'm going to zoom in so you can see this better. You can show your rise over your run by counting the number of units. So like from this point, I'm going down 1, 2, 3, 4 units, so down 4. And then we're going over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units. So to the right, 6 units. So we would say a negative 4 over 6, or like we already showed, negative 2 over 3. Which the negative 2 over 3 is also visible right here if you just do break it up into smaller pieces. So it's going down 2 and then over 3. Okay, so if it's graphed, that's one way to do it. But I wanted to show you how to do it with the points, because when you have a table or when you just have points, coordinates, you got to be able to do it that way as well. So let's practice this next one. So one thing that does have to happen is these x values all have to be equidistant. So notice they're all going up by 2. That's pretty important. So there is another way you can do this, but the coordinate way is probably the easiest way to do it. And that, if you're doing the coordinate way like we did before, you don't have to worry about the equidistance. So I'm going to go ahead and say that this one's x1, this one's x2, and this one's y1 and y2. So we'll do y2, so 7, minus y1, which is 4, all that over x2, so negative 3, minus x1, so minus negative 5. 7 minus 4 is 3. Remember, when you subtract a negative, it's like adding, so that's like negative 3 plus 5, which is 2. And that does not simplify. 3 divided by 2 can't do that. So we are done with that one. All right, let's do this one, number 3. So once again, we're doing y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I'm going to label them. So the x's always go first. So that's x1, x2. And then the y's are y1, y2 right here. So y2 is 3 minus our negative 1. All that's over our x2, which is 7 minus 7. So when we subtract a negative, it's like adding. So this is 3 plus 1, which is 4. 7 minus 7 is 0. So what I told you before is it says to state, or there are 2 different types of special lines. If you have a 0 on the bottom, that means it's undefined, which means it's actually a vertical line. So this is undefined. And we actually do need to state that this is a vertical line. So it's vertical. Which I forgot to state what type of slope this one. This one is, on number 2, is a, not negative, but a positive slope. Meaning the line is going to be going up like this. Vertical line will look like that, and negative slope looks just like this line drawn already. All right, that is slope for you.